Fight fans, this is the last UFC fight night of the year. Now, next Saturday on December 20th, we have CFFC 149 out of Atlantic City. It's going to be a banger. Tune in for that one. But tonight, we got UFC Fight Night ROYVAL versus KAPE. A fight on the prelims that you should keep an eye on is Sean Sharaf versus Steven Aspon. Steven is the guy. Now, we're just going to go over the main card because we don't want to keep you here for long. Starting it off, this fight was added 4 days ago. It's a catchweight bout between King Green and fearless Lance Gibson Jr. Now, Green, he lost his last two out against Paddy Pimblett and Mauricio Rufy, but before that, he had a great fight against Jim Miller at UFC 300. He's 32-17 with one draw. He has 11 KOs, 9 subs, and 11 of those finishes coming in the first round. And on the other side, fearless Gibson Jr., making his UFC debut on 4-day notice. Formerly fighting under the Bellator promotion, he has a record of 9-1 with 4 knockouts and 3 submissions. A cool thing about him is that his dad fought in the UFC back in the year 2000 at UFC 24 and UFC 29, an OG of the fight game. Next up in the heavyweight division, Kennedy African Savage Nzechukwu versus Marcus Buchecha. Kennedy, he was heel hooked by Walter Walker in his last fight out, but before that he won 2 fights in a row, 2 first round finishes, earning him a performance bonus in one of them. Now he's 14-6 with 10 KOs and 4 of those finishes coming in the first round. On the other side of the octagon, we have Buchecha. He's a 13 times black belt world champion and a 2 times ADCC champion, but has only had his first MMA fight 4 years ago, so he's very new to the MMA scene. He's 5-2 with 1 KO, 4 submissions, and all of those finishes coming in the first round. Next up in the featherweight division, we have Melky Zael, the Dalmatian Costa, versus Morgan, the Last Pirate Charrier. Costa, currently on a 4-fight win streak, earning a Fight of the Night bonus in his last fight against Julian Erosa. A great fight to watch back if you haven't seen that one. He's 24-7 with 7 KOs, 8 subs, and 9 of those finishes coming in the first round. Charrier, in the other side of the octagon, in 4 of his 5 UFC fights, he's earned a performance bonus. This man is always fun to watch. He's 21-11 with 1 draw. He has 13 KOs, 3 submissions, and 8 of those finishes coming in the first round. Gonna go a little faster, but next up in the middleweight division, Cesar Almeida versus Cezary Oleksiejczuk. Almeida, he got a crazy KO on the first round of his last fight, earning him a performance bonus. Now, it's funny because his last fight was the card to open up the 2025 year, and now he's on the card to close the year. Crazy how it works. Let's see if he does the same thing again. He's 7-1 with 5 KOs and 4 of them coming in the first round. On the other side, though, Oleksiejczuk, making his debut after getting a contract off the Contender Series earlier this year. The fight ended in 36 seconds, and he just hammer-fisted the back of the head, or side of the head, not back of the head. Brother of Michelle Oleksiejczuk, so, I mean, that man is great on the feet. 16-3 with 9 KOs and 2 submissions. Next up, the co-main event in the featherweight division. Giga Ninja Chikadze versus Kevin El Chino Ballejos. Number 15 ranked Chikadze is coming off of back-to-back decision losses against Arnold Allen and David Onama, but don't count him out though. 6 of his wins are in less than a minute and 20 seconds in the first round. He's 15-5 with 9 KOs, 1 submission, and 9 first-round finishes. On the other side though, unranked Ballejos. Only loss was to Jean Silva on the Contender Series back in 2023. He was still an up-and-comer. He's 22 at the time. Now he's 24. Since then, he's won 5 in a row, with 2 of them being under the UFC banner. He's 16-1 with 1 KO, 2 subs, and 8 of those finishes coming in the first round. Now, to end off the year, the main event of the evening. In the flyweight division, Brandon Raw Dog ROYVAL versus Manel Starboy KAPE. This fight was scheduled 3 times now, and finally we're getting it. 3rd time's the charm, baby. Number 2 ranked ROYVAL's last fight was a banger against Joshua Van, earned him a Fight of the Night bonus. A banger, like I said. Before that, ROYVAL won 2 split decision wins against Moreno and Tyra. So even though he lost that one to Van, his stock went up. That was great. He's 17-8 with 4 KOs, 9 subs, and 10 of those finishes coming in the first round. He's earned 6 UFC bonuses since signing 5 years ago in 2020. Number 6 ranked KAPE, though, on the other side. He won his last 2 out via round 3 finishes against Asu Almabayev and Bruno Silva. He's 21-7 with 13 KOs, 5 subs, and 9 first-round finishes. He's won his last 6 out of 7. His only loss out of those, there's only 1 loss out of the 6 to 7 was to Muhammad Mokaev, who isn't even in the UFC anymore. Looking to get him back soon, though. Boys, that's the end of it. that's the end of the year. Thanks for watching. Let me know who y'all got. I'm going to miss y'all in this 6-week break. We'll see you next week for the CFFC video. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you at the cash counter.